Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm reviewing Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. So this newest adaptation of Pinocchio is being released on Netflix in a few weeks, and I have to say right away, this film is probably my current pick for Best Animated Picture. As you expect from Del Toro, this movie does a fantastic job of taking a classic fairy tale and injecting a little bit of darkness to it, and in many ways elevating the already really well done themes of this story. The movie starts off right away by building some emotional stakes of Geppetto, what he's dealing with, how Pinocchio is created. I feel like a lot of the previous adaptations, especially those from Disney, kind of gloss over the struggle and losses of Geppetto. And this movie, it really leans into it. You're really understanding the stakes. He's a very important character, and it really helps personify what Pinocchio is and what he symbolizes. The movie doesn't shy away from taking some dark turns, and I think it's one of the things that really elevates the story because Pinocchio, the original source material, is pretty dark. It's pretty twisted. It's really weird. And I feel like we have this idea of what Pinocchio is from Disney. And while those are great for like children and really more tame versions of the story, I think this one really gets at the core of it. Even Pinocchio himself, the character model in this film, he's imperfect. He looks kind of strange. He's built very haphazardly because he's built from a place of desperation. He's built from a place of depression in Geppetto's life. So he kind of has, nails sticking out of him. He still looks mostly wooden. He's not painted. He isn't really polished looking. I think in a lot of ways that helps the character because he looks like a puppet. He doesn't look like a boy. So you're having to build with him and learn with him and kind of look at him as a child instead of looking at him as a wooden puppet. And of course, this movie being done in stop animation just makes it look even more incredible. It's such a remarkable craft to be able to do this and make it look good. And it is probably the best looking stop motion animation film I've ever seen. Obviously, the technology has come really far since the early days of all those really early films using this kind of style, but it looks so good. It's so fluid and polished in the detail. Everything about it, it just looks like you're watching a piece of art. And of course, Del Toro brings some of those fantastic creature designs, whether it be kind of his take on the blue fairy, which I think was remarkably interesting looking. It was like almost like an early look of what biblical angels look like. It was really bizarre looking and interesting. And then there's also these moments where Pinocchio dies and he goes kind of to the afterlife, and you have these weird little rabbits that are carrying him around, and he meets with this other beast that kind of brings him back using the sands of time, and everything is so whimsical and dark looking that it really just captures the imagination. That's something that he's always done as a filmmaker. He's able to take kind of a traditional story or like a classic fairy tale and spin it on his head. He did it with Shape of Water. He's done it before in the past, and I think this movie is just the perfect rendition of taking a story like this and bringing it to a new dark place that we've never seen it before. The messaging is still there from Pinocchio. It's obviously really classic and powerful messaging. That's why we've seen renditions of this movie almost feels like every year for however many years, 100 years or 200 years this story has existed, and it just does a great job of capturing kind of the human condition. And in this movie in particular, it takes place in fascist Italy during World War II. So they're even able to inject a little bit of political satire into this movie, talking about kind of the propaganda, making Mussolini look like a fool, poking fun at some of his ambitions and the way that people lived in that nationalistic lifestyle at that time. I think all the voice acting was excellent. Christoph Waltz was great as the villain in this film. Obviously, Ewan McGregor was great as their version of like Jiminy Cricket. So I think all of it came together to create almost like a perfect little encapsulation of what I ever could want this film to be. And I think it really does skirt the line on being kind of a macabre, dark fantasy with being very whimsical, especially the interjection of this music, the same composer that did Shape of Water. It creates this very fanciful fairy tale like music that elevates the film to keeping it from being too dark and too dismal. And there are some lighthearted moments. Pinocchio is a constant ray of sunshine. He's a character that is just relentlessly positive, and having it string throughout this kind of dark story is a really great combination. I think that's something that's always worked for Pinocchio. I will say in the beginning of the film, he's obviously a little annoying. Like he's a very, he's a new person. He doesn't know anything. He's kind of crazy. He's ridiculous, but he does have some great little musical moments, particularly in the beginning of the movie. But as you grow with him and you grow with him as a person, it just works so well. Like I said, it is about the human condition. It's about being born anew into this world and navigating it as a newborn, essentially. So it's great being able to show this story in such a well-crafted way and still capturing those messages and not being style over substance. So at the end of the day, if I were to rate Pinocchio, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Like I said, I think it is the best animated film this year. It's so well crafted. It still captures all the messages while giving it a uniquely dark twist and a uniquely real twist, putting it in that time period in Italy. I wasn't really expecting that. I didn't know anything going into this movie. I just thought it was going to be, his take on Pinocchio, but kind of transforming the story to make it more real and make it more grounded. I think it was just excellently done. So when you check out Pinocchio, let me know what you thought about it. Did you like it as much as I did? I'm interested to see people that maybe have a connection to the Disney Pinocchio, if they watch this and just think it's too dark or too weird. But I think it is the best version of Pinocchio, in my opinion. I don't have a huge connection to that original Pinocchio film. The remake was okay. But this one, I just think this is the quintessential version of this story being brought to the modern day and just a beautiful artistic expression. I can't say how much I love this film. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.